All right, today we're going to dive into a really powerful idea, something that I think speaks volumes about the world we're living in right now. It's called the ethics of the passerby. And really, it's a whole new way of thinking about who we are and where we belong, especially in a world that feels, well, pretty fragile and always on the move.
So let's just jump right in with a question that kind of hits you, right? Are we citizens of nowhere? I mean, think about it. In a world where all the old rules seem to be breaking down, is this what we're all becoming? This is the central problem we're going to explore.
So before we can even get to the solution, we've got to understand the problem, right? And the author kicks things off with a pretty stark diagnosis of our era, calling it a fragile new century.
Wow, that one sentence really hits hard, doesn't it? It's like the vulnerability we all feel, the fragility of our world, it's not some secret anymore. It's just out there for all of us to see. And you can see the symptoms of this fragility everywhere, right? Power isn't in one place anymore. It's totally fractured. You've got democracies that feel, I don't know, hollowed out, even paranoid. And those big ideas we used to count on, you know that some things are sacred, that certain rights can't ever be taken away? Well, suddenly all of that is on the table, being questioned. Okay, so that's the big picture. But how does all this global fragility actually hit home for you and me? Well, it boils down to this really personal dilemma, one that's tied to something completely, totally out of our control. It's what the author calls the accident of birth. And seriously, just stop and think about that for a second. The single most random thing that ever happened to you, where you happen to be born, goes on to define almost everything else. Your identity, your rights, how free you are. It's this insane contradiction, right? Pure chance on one side and these massive, lifelong consequences on the other. And that's the real weight of it. That one single event, your birth, determines the mountain of paperwork you have to deal with, all the proofs, the documents, the justifications you need just to exist, just to move around freely. Your birthplace becomes this gatekeeper to your own life. And this question, man, this is where it all comes to a head. It just feels wrong, doesn't it? How can something so random, this lottery of where you're born, have such an unbreakable grip on who you get to be? And this is exactly where we pivot. We start searching for a totally new way to look at all this.
Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the solution? How do we get out of this trap? Well, the author finds a clue, a key really, hidden inside just one word. The word is passant, which is French for passerby.
So on the surface, passant is pretty simple. It's a passerby, someone who's just passing through a place. They're this figure of the elsewhere. They come from some other place, and they're on their way to yet another one. But, and this is the cool part, that's just scratching the surface. Okay, check this out. The author literally breaks the word down. So inside passant, you have pas. Now, pas in French means two things at once. It means step, like movement, but it also means not, like an absence. Pretty cool, right? Then you have passé, which is the past, but it's like the past that's still happening, becoming an event. And then there's passeur, the smuggler, the ferryman, the person who builds a bridge between two different places. So in this one little word, you've got movement, you've got absence, time, and connection all wrapped up together. It's brilliant. So the passerby isn't just some person watching from the sidelines. No way. They're the vehicle that's moving, they're the bridge that connects the two places, and they're the passenger taking the trip. They are the entire act of movement, all in one. So with this much deeper, much richer idea of what a passerby is, the author builds a whole new way of being in the world. It's an ethic, a set of principles, but it's not for someone who's stuck in one place. It's an ethic for a mover.
You can see the difference so clearly here. On the one hand, you have the traditional way of belonging, right? It's all about your roots, your bloodline, owning a piece of land. But on the other side, you have the passerby's ethic. And that's not about owning a place, it's about inhabiting it. It's not about staying put, it's about the journey itself. And this is the most important part. Instead of being indifferent to other places, you have this amazing balance of solidarity and detachment.
So, okay, what does that actually mean? How do you live like that? Well, it's about being fully present where you are. You engage, you show solidarity. But at the same time, you keep a little bit of distance. You have a kind of detachment that stops you from getting possessive, from thinking, this is mine. You care a lot about where you are, but you never try to own it. It's a really fine line to walk, but it's incredibly powerful. Okay, so this isn't just a personal self-help guide, right? Let's zoom out and see how this whole idea scales up. Because it's not just about how one person lives. It's a way to think about our entire shared future as a planet. And the big idea here is that the world doesn't really have a center of gravity anymore. You know, that old idea that there was one place, say Europe, that was like the pharmacy of the world, the place everyone went to get the answers? That's just over, gone. We live in a world with many centers now.
And a world like that demands this new ethic of the passerby. Our future is going to be all about passage, about crossing, about movement. So the real challenge for all of us is to figure out how to move through all these different places responsibly. How do we see the Earth not as a bunch of territories to be owned, but as our shared home? It's really a project of becoming human, together, here in the world.
And, there's no easy, clean answer at the end of all this. The author doesn't give us one. Instead, we're left with this really powerful quote from Frantz Fanon. It's almost like a prayer. To never get comfortable, to never settle for the easy answers about who you are or where you belong, but to always, always be a person who questions. And that's a powerful thought to end on. Thanks for listening.